Hello! We're so tired.
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, rather said. Welcome to another episode of Taco Clock. He's back, he's back, he's back. Tired, but back, and he didn't have a chance because I just dragged him here.
Yes, I will be sleeping again with open eyes. Starting now.
No. No.
Eh,
Come on. Do me the favor.
time for coffee.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Which must have a really good audio impression chunking on the desk. Go along.
So, it's another today beautiful Sunday. It's not raining for a change, which is awesome. It's rather warm, so it's kind of like feeling summer over here, which is nice. And
You did some art stuff this week.
yes,
What?
the sun. That was actually the
Oh, yeah. Please continue going with the longest segue
I'm sorry.
possible. So, the weather
I had one
outside.
cup of coffee.
Yeah.
This is the second one.
So-
See, and it's. I took one sip.
So your
Be nice.
implication was it is sunny now.
Yeah.
Since
I painted the sun or sculptured the sun, both I think. It's sunny over here. It's nice weather.
Good
Why
job.
did I not do that earlier in the year?
I don't know.
Remind me next year.
No, but that means next year I can hold you accountable for shitty weather. and-
Well, thank you.
What?
I'm not accountable for everything else. So, anyways, I made the sun for my mommy. She wanted to have it for
Better weather.
That's why the vlog takes more than 30 minutes, because he always interrupts me and makes me laugh.
Nope, we are on a tight time schedule today. So you made the sun. What
Yes.
was good about making the sun?
It was easy to paint, it was easy to varnish, and the orb was easy to make.
What was difficult about making the sun?
The rays of the sun, I tried to make them, but hold on, I give you some.
Talk to my thumb.
I tried to make them out of clay too, and they broke and shattered into tiny little pieces once they were dried, and I tried to pick them up. But I have to say that they were 30 centimeters in diameter. Diameter, right? Is that the right word? Durchmesser? I don't know. Whatever. Like halfway through the circle. That thing. I think it's diameter. Whatever. And there was like a huge gap in the middle where the orb is supposed to be, so it was rather fragile, and when I picked it up, it just went to pieces, so I went for copper metal thingy.
You're talking about taking my power lines and repurposing them as
Isn't that
metal
good?
thingies.
Yes.
Yeah, but that leads into the final question of what yeah, someone has to do some straight project
Well,
management on these
sure.
things.
Go.
So
We have a roadmap.
taking into account making the sun, what would you make different going forward with more sculptures in the same vein with very thin modeling, trying to prevent maybe the breaking or something like that? Is there something in the process that you would change?
No, because I did not figure out why. I think it's just because of the size of empty space in between the pieces, but I'm not sure why it broke. Because I did other fragile stuff with it and they did not break, so I'm not sure.
I was hoping for some scientific.
No, I really would like to know. I guess it is because there is this huge empty space of like 30 centimeters in the middle, and then you have this 5 centimeter small clay circle with the sun rays going like out of it. I think that's why. I'm not sure.
So that was the sun.
Yeah, so I had to use your power cable line stuff and take all the plastic away from it so that you only have the copper left, and then manipulate it in a way that it looks like a sun and piece it together. And it worked well, but my hands hurt like shit afterwards. I'm not used to that kind of work with the hands. But in the end, my mom loved it. It's hanging in the window of my old room. And it took her like 45 seconds from when she got it to the point that it hung up in the window. Her with the big, goofy schoolgirl kind of smile that she always has when she's like, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about your mom. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
you were
yeah.
talking about the sun. Because
No, about my mom.
of-
No, my mom. So she loved it. Which is, I think, the most important part.
Okay. Yeah, well,
At least for me.
clearly.
I guess so.
Indubitably.
I guess so. So that was one of the art stuff pieces I did. I did 3 pages for the art journal. And I planned out a couple of other things and did write a very small scene in my book, nothing fancy there. So that was my art week.
See, so that is possible to do in about 5 to 6 minutes.
It's 7 minutes on the Clarify Secret.
Yeah, but
I don't have my glasses on.
we were saying hello for 2 minutes. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. Like I said, the sun is not the biggest part to talk about. It's what's coming up. So, since we were just with art stuff, I also one night, because I'm a night owl. I love to work at night and sleep through the day. So one night I brought you to bed, tucked you in at about 2 a.m. So that's when I started until 5:30 in the morning. I did rearrange my studio, like organizing it, optimizing stuff for the workstations that I have here and what I do where and where I want to put
As you
supplies.
might be able to
Yeah,
see.
it looks
in the
kind of
background.
different, right? The table that used to stand like behind Daniel is way over there. You can see it now. It's it flipped the side and way back to the studio. So
Tables were flipped.
no, that was in some other regards. Anyways, so I did that until 5:30 in the morning, and I was not done because I pre-cut all of the cardboard boxes that you can see here for the big jigsaw puzzle that's gonna end up on my ceiling / wall in the studio. And there were like hundreds of cardboard boxes that I had to pre-cut. So that took a while, and I had to finish up the rearrangement of the studio the next day, the next afternoon actually. So it took another 3 hours, which made it like 6 hours that it took to make this happen, and I'm very happy with it. I like it. It's nice and clean and a lot of space, and
Yeah, it's looking very orderly. It's like almost as if you cleaned up the room.
which I just said I did, so. Perceptive!
Yeah, what?
Huh?
Huh?
Hmm? Don't disturb me when I drink freaking hot coffee. So, yeah, that was everything art related for me this week. So we can go on to the good stuff.
Okay.
The fun stuff, which was last night. We went out with a couple of friends. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we saw I'm sorry to say this, best movie of at least this century, maybe this millennium.
It will be my all-time favorite movie
Yes.
for my whole life.
Best comedy 2014 already.
Already, and it's only June. No, May. It's May. Gosh,
And
I'm ahead.
clearly, the movie we're talking about is Godzilla, which is a movie
Sorry.
about a giant lizard that is not very much featured in that movie, but well, things happen, and I don't know. Either someone had the most greatest attempts of recreating bad movie plots when doing that movie and doing that on purpose, or they failed horribly at making a movie. Either way, it's super funny.
They were just on crack and had the greatest ideas ever. Because I found it usually when you watch a comedy, it's so predictable. You can really pinpoint like 5 minutes ahead when the joke is coming. And with this one, unpredictable, but also
no jokes
with
coming
the
jokes coming all the time.
All the time.
Nobody knew that
hilarious.
they were jokes, so it is an amazing movie. It is a really bad Godzilla movie, but
it's a good movie.
It is so bad, it's so good. Yeah.
And it was my first time ever that I saw a Godzilla movie. I never did. So on the way to the cinema, my sweet hubby had to tell me all about the background story in the car while I was driving.
Which
about
isn't as easy for everybody knowing that there were like 5 reboots of the Godzilla franchise.
So he had to go through all of them because I'm curious and I want to know before I see a movie. But anyways, we were 4 people and 3 of us wanted to go into that movie and 1 person wanted to go into the other movie, and he was the only one who was not cracking up. But he was just like, oh, gosh, no, that's so cheap.
We weren't cracking up either. We were crying for...
We were crying because we were laughing so hard. And one of us, he's one of our best friends ever, and he was gasping and trying to get air. I thought he was dying, and he was just laughing so hard. At the same time sitting in the movie like.
We had at least 3 or 4 occasions where we, in perfect synchronicity, everybody went, what?
Like the 3 of us, like.
I don't. Oh.
And usually when I'm in a cinema sitting there watching a movie, I'm not engaging with the film. Like, I watch it, but I don't talk to other people because I don't like it when somebody talks through the movie. I find it annoying, so I don't do that. And I'm not complaining or finding something super, super awesome, like with everybody around me knowing. This was the first time ever that I did. I could not hold myself back, like with the gestures and talking like, shit, fuck, why? He hears the crackling sounds on the other side of the walkie-talkie. Why is he still going there when he hears like a silent or a tiny roar on the other end? So you know that on the other end of the tunnel at the train there might be a monster.
Snake Eyes, please come in. Snake Eyes, is the bridge clear? Is the bridge... Snake Eyes, I didn't copy that, so the bridge is clear. Let's go forward. What?
Why? Oh gosh, no, not again. Just the thought of it makes me cry.
Yeah, there's gold at every corner of that movie. Is like one of these scenes. It is amazing. I mean,
those actor faces, I don't know how they kept serious while they were shooting that when they read the script.
That entire thing wouldn't work or be as funny if the movie wouldn't take itself so incredibly serious. It's
I couldn't do that kind of a scene. If I was the actor, I would totally lose it.
Well.
Whew. Anyways, so that was the fun part of this week. So we had a great night out yesterday and enjoyed ourselves very, very much.
I think the best review of the entire movie was given while the movie was running by a 12-year-old 2 seats away from me who went to the cinema with his dad. They were both really cool, and that dad was always explaining what everything is, and the son the kid was looking, and he's like, wow, with the big monsters and amazing, and even in the trailer show, it's like, there's a new X-Men coming, wow, can we
like
go there?"
geeking out.
And that is really cool to see, especially if you at our age, you go back remembering maybe going with your dad to the cinema watching a Batman movie or something.
With me, it was Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
and
I was geeking out.
At the midpoint of the movie, still, it is all about the human story, the character development,
And the moth.
and things that nobody really cared about. And then I just hear from my right side some tiny little voice asking, "Dad, where are the monsters? I thought this is a monster." It's like,
where's Godzilla? Well,
you're on the right track there.
It's like my thoughts exactly. Yeah. So it was really fun. We had a lot of fun last night in the movie. It was the right decision to see that movie.
Yeah.
Best comedy ever. So, mascara. Oopsie. Sorry. With this pretty much sums up our week, aside from our usual occupation with board games.
Oh.
Yeah, work with you.
Yeah. So, yeah. The
I call
other,
it art. You call it work. So
the other thing that takes
the other thing that pays the rent. No, it's we of course had another week full of lovely board games, and like I said last week, this week we're gonna discuss the Zombicide thingy because I wanted to have him here with being the painter of all those awesome miniatures. And then we also bought a new game that we also played, so that's what we're gonna focus on. So I'm taking everything other than those two games away right now, so then you can go ahead and do your stuff. We also played the usual rounds of Domino, Love Letter, and we practiced Magic because on vacation in
it's now called
2 weeks.
It's now called the Magic Boot Camp.
Yes,
So
we're gearing up so that we won't lose too much during our vacation week on Malta, in Malta, whatever. It's an island, so I guess on/in Malta, where we take the commander decks with us and play with our friends at night after having a good day.
So if you want to get a clear picture, it is both of us sitting in the living room on our knees or in kimonos. Someone is going with a gong, and then we are going into this sensei relationship, teaching magic and preparing for the journey ahead. The great tournament happening in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
You know what? Now you just gave me such a strong picture in my head. Guess I'm gonna paint that at one point. Damn it. Inspiration.
Tapping the land, you must.
Oh, I paint you green, I can tell you that. With pointy ears. No. So, go ahead. Zombicide. Blah.
Zombicide is a game that is about zombies.
We already talked about the rules and everything, but did you find it totally different to play with the painted miniatures? Did you get into the zone more rather than just having little figurines that are all the same color pushed around? Because I did, so that's why I waited for you to come on and see.
Yes, I think I said this earlier. It's much more recognizable in terms of you're playing with minis, and suddenly it's not, hey, we have to get rid of that runner. No, we have to get rid now of Fancy Pants, make purple because he is running around in that kind of attire. To just identify what is important or what is the threat here, and it's just a more cohesive look across the board.
And I found it with the painted miniatures, the board looks even more wild and like unbeatable when you have masses of zombies standing there. Like in the second half of the game, where you usually have like 20, 30 zombies on the board, it looks even scarier than with only the gray miniatures, because you have so many colors that really pop out now. So it's just not a gray mess on a gray board. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Yep.
So you're more alert, even more. So I loved it.
So the things that I liked about that is literally that the colors ended up blending in quite well with the board. So that's the same type of color scheme, which isn't too surprising because I was literally taking the palette that is suggested from the artwork in the manual for each mini. Except maybe for all those specific zombies, because there's typically only just one piece of art depicting what a walker looks like, or what a runner looks like, or what a fatty looks like. And obviously I try to alternate that and have in a group of 8 at least 4 different versions, and of those 4, one with blood spatters and one without, just to make each figure unique in what it's looking like. And at the end of the day, I'm quite happy with how everything turned out.
I like the yellow runner with the blood spatter. I really love that one.
The one that's looking like Bruce Lee, or the Kill Bill version of Uma Thurman.
Yes. So I really like that. And if you haven't seen it, check out my Facebook page. I linked the photos that I made of his art. I think it's art. So you can see what those figurines look like.
It is the same as painting by numbers, but on a 3D surface. So it is art in the most extended way of calling something art.
Breathing in and out rhythmically is art.
That's almost saying, yeah.
See? So that was one of the bigger games that we played, and the other one is Android Infiltration, which we bought on Friday.
And for the record, I'm quite happy that I'm done with painting zombies for now, because those were, let me think,
a lot.
56, 64 miniatures,
Yeah.
all in total, which is quite a journey to go through, and so I'm looking forward. I still have the zombie dogs, but I don't really feel like painting more zombies at the moment, so I have to do them eventually, but that may take a little bit of time, and since they're optional in the rules anyway, I think we can live with either playing with them unpainted, or better said, they are already primed, but it'll take some time to paint them, because just from a technique, painting animal fur is not. It is easy in one regard if you're going with the dry brushing technique and just try to get the color schemes on there. But then again, I really would like to have the dogs have the typical patches of colors that you get, where the chest maybe is a little bit brighter or whitish or yellowish, and the rest is then darker with much more alteration. And that is a little bit more work to plan out and to set up and get the colors right, so that it doesn't look like they're just muddy. Then for the zombie version, so there's 2 versions of dogs. One is the survivor version of dogs, which are essentially like an equipment piece or an item that the survivors get.
A companion.
They can use them to attack other monsters, or just to help them out. And then there's the zombie dogs, which sort of explains what happened to all of those dogs after the zombie apocalypse. And the zombie dogs also have an added difficulty in terms of that they are just looking rotten. So I have to take a look at how to paint that. With humans, it's a little bit easier, because they weren't literally rotten. They just had normal, so they were undamaged, but had
zombie skin.
ripped up clothings and zombie skin. But there's nothing like they have no bones looking out, or they have no wounds, and those zombie dogs have in fact wounds to actually be able to show that these are zombie dogs, because you wouldn't see under the fur if it's a green or a normal skin or something else. So
but they have the crazy eyes.
Yeah. But that's not enough on the playing field to anyone. So that'll be a little bit more difficult, or especially in terms of if I want to go on and have them look individual and want to have them in a level of detail that fits in with the rest of the minis. That'll be quite challenging. But I guess we will be getting back to that. Until then, I think I'm starting to paint a little bit of the Warzone minis that came almost 2 months ago already. They started to come in, but that's a Kickstarter shipment that's still not complete yet, so we can't actually play it. So I started assembling the figurines already, primed some, started coloring some, but those are a lot of minis. They are even more than the Zombicide minis, because
they all get different bases.
I think five or six different factions, and each faction almost has a little box that comes in.
That would be 5 boxes we have 5 boxes in...
No, we have 4 boxes, but I think I have 2 factions which are not in boxes, but in individual cases. But regardless, that's a really, really long-term painting thing that's going on. But for that, as you said, what things that arrived this week is I got a couple of basing stamps from a company in the UK, which are really nice. So these are hard plastic circular stamps, pretty much 15 centimeters wide, so almost like this, which have a negative scenery imprinted on it. So the idea is you take the miniature bases, put some putty or epoxy or something like how's it called? I think it's just putty or epoxy, like milliput or green stuff. Put that on there, wet it a little bit, and then put it into the negative stamp. Put it out, and then you have the positive impression of some ground area. Yeah. So those stamps I got are things like a broken up highway, or an 1860s version of
London streets, with the cobblestones and everything. So they look really pretty.
Yeah, another one looks like almost like a spaceship ground thing with grades and metal and
the Death Star.
So you take out those bases, put the green stuff on them, stamp them, and then you can paint them, and it almost looks like a custom base. And considering the price for that is a really good deal. These stamps are a bit pricey, but if I would go out and buy individual pre-made bases for all those minis, that would be a little bit more pricey. Yeah. The other good thing is that each stamp is so big that you can easily get multiple different looking bases from them. So they are really... a full scenery set, and you can just put almost 8 normal bases next to each other, print them on, and each one will look different, but almost the same, because they're from the same scenery, and that makes a really nice individual, but different look.
Yeah, they have like 15 centimeters diameter, those stamps, something like that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like them.
Me too.
I guess so. Because you bought them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be on a shopping spree next week, going for some wool and buttons for my knitting stuff and for your wedding anniversary gift and stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna buy next week.
So in other news, and just to really, really push forward to keep it close to half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. Another thing we got this week, I actually had to order that at the local game store because they don't have it anymore for some odd reason. Is another game from the Android universe that is put up by Fantasy Flight, and this one is actually not available in German. But that's the same universe as Netrunner or the Android board game. This one is called Android Infiltration, and I think the best way to describe it is imagine you're playing Ocean's 11, or that's the answer. You go in planning to be Ocean's 11 in a future cyberpunk environment. You have to break into a randomly generated building consisting of multiple rooms, and you have to go through each room and get out again before security forces grab you. However, while Ocean's 11 sounds like a co-op experience, Android Infiltration is a competitive thing because we all get hired as thugs to pull off that heist. But at the end of the day, each of us has his own agenda, and so pretty much with the heist beginning, everyone is on his own and tries to extract as much information or as much data that they can sell later on. So this is a combination of luck and push your luck games where you go into rooms, and the further you go in, the higher the rewards typically, but it's more difficult to get out again, and there's some
takes
effects
way longer.
Yeah, there's some effects happening like non-player characters showing up, making life more difficult, or you can just annoy your other players with things you can set up like surveillance cameras, which grab stuff from them that they would that would count as victory points.
Yeah, or that just increase the security alert.
Yeah.
Which you did.
Yeah, so that mechanic in itself I found pretty nice because it is very randomized. That's the luck thing, where you have a security counter that counts from 0 to 99, and when it reaches 99 or would go above that, security forces arrive and everybody in the building loses the game. So the objective is get into the building, discover as many rooms as possible, download data from that, and get out of the building before that timer reaches 99. And at the end of each turn, so one turn is one player is the first player, and then everybody makes his move with his character. And at the end of the turn, that first player rolls a die, and that number is taken to increase that dial. So if you roll a 6 on the first turn, that dial is increased from 0 to 6. Now there are other effects that increase that security threat. For example, I played a card that increases that roll permanently by 2. So there's another small dial that can be dialed up to 8, and that number is added to the number you rolled. So with a 2, you roll a 6, and then it's turned up to 8.
It can also be turned to negative numbers. There was a -1 on that scale. So, but there were like 8 positive numbers and like 3 negative numbers. So it's not likely that you go with it.
But at some point you have to make the decision.
Am I the dick or not?
Will the die rolls be in my favor to get out again? Can I do another room where you're looking at that counter and say, we're already at 65, 70 almost.
And I have to go back 6 rooms, and I can only go 1 room per turn.
On a best case scenario, that's not a problem. You could have 20 more turns, but it is more likely that you don't. And so you.
And I made him die on the last move.
You start going back, and then you have the strategy to go out, and it should work. But suddenly someone does something, and you get wounded. And suddenly you can only move 1 room every 2 turns, which screws up the entire planning. It's a very fast, fun game.
It was like 30 minutes tops, right? It was rather quick to play.
Where it's ultimately it's depending on what your luck is in that. Don't expect any big strategies.
And how clever your opponents play their item cards.
Yeah.
If they play them clever or if they waste them.
Yeah.
So that's the only.
Yeah, so the turn itself works that way, that you have a set of fixed action cards and then a set of item cards, which almost are all the same. The only difference is action cards you keep even after using them, and item cards are typically discarded after using them, but have a better effect than the normal action cards.
So much stronger.
So everybody plays those cards face down, and then everybody flips them up, starting with the first player, going clockwise to resolve all those cards played. So it's a little bit like rock, paper, scissors, in terms of that everybody has the same kinds of actions and is limited, and you can sort of predict most likely what everybody else is doing, but sometimes it's an interesting thing. If he's doing that before me, I essentially waste my turn. So I could go to the next room instead of staying here and doing the thing I do. But if he's not doing that, I could have downloaded the data in this room, and that is an interesting decision in trying to read your other side playing with you.
And when you have somebody with a poker face, it's rather difficult. His poker face looks like that, and you are me now. So I can see what he's thinking when he looks at his cards. So great, awesome poker face. Yeah, that one is the second one. It's the spare face. So anyway, I love the game.
Yeah, that's looking forward to maybe today playing it with 4 people.
Yeah.
Because then obviously it'll be more dynamic in that regard, trying to read what people are doing, and you're not only screwing with one person in terms of messing with the gameplay, but you're sort of have to balance it between all the others. I haven't seen any cards that say explicitly you have to go to that player and make his life miserable. It's more like you play a card and everybody in that room and the adjacent room gets
screwed over,
gets a benefit or loses something. So it's a more broad, unspecific type.
And I think it will also
targeting.
Play totally different when you play just with one character, because with a 2-player game you play 2 characters per person. So I had to decide, or I was busy with deciding whom of my guys does what action and who collects and who advances, something like that. If you just have one character, I think that's different. When you play the character, the operative, different than
I would
in a 2-player game.
So the game comes with rules from 2 to 6 players, but I would almost say it's a 3-player minimum.
3.
I mean, it's not too bad playing with 2.
No, it was fun, especially for a test round, because the first round that we play, it's always a test round where we kind of like, well, look at this card, am I understanding it right? Or, hey, can I do that now? And you kind of give away your move
you
or
play
your
with
thoughts.
an open hand almost.
Kind of like. But still, still having a couple of tricks up our sleeves. So it was a typical test round where one of our characters each got out and the other one died. The one that got out were both of our characters that had the fewer amount of data files. So we had 11 each.
Yeah,
so it was a tie. We tied.
I almost forgot.
And the ones that died, yours had 25, mine had 22.
Yeah.
So I killed his character on his last move. So he was in the last room, like grabbing the doorknob, trying to get out, and I was like, no, you stay in with me, and you die with me.
That was essentially the
So-
and suddenly you're wounded, and now you need 2 turns to get out, and the doomsday clock was already at 98 or something like that, which is like, no, whatever, no.
I dialed back 10 counts at one point, pretty much at the end, but it didn't help us both, so... we died there. So,
but surprisingly, it fit in terms of the characters we played. So the two characters who were more reckless. So the characters
my
you choose,
my save one, Mr. Benedict, if you stay with Ocean's 11, or Mr. White if you stay with Android.
So those characters have no specific effect. It's just fluff for reading up who's doing what. But so Sarah was playing the brains of the operation. There's
just like
really
in real
short
life.
Intro paragraph to each character, and he goes out and hires all those other people, and
just like in real life.
So you had that one. The other one was
Santiago, my favorite hacker from Netrunner.
Yeah, and I had an assassin, the assassin girl,
Monica Singh.
Yeah, and her story starts with while she's trying to assassinate Mr. White, and he holds her off with a glass of really good wine. He proposes that heist plan and picks her up. And the fourth one was Animal, like just the brute going in, and I made an effort playing him like that, like using Zemtex chargers to get rid of certain obstacles and not.
He
not
held
being
up
the clever
Mr.
one.
White. He delayed Mr. White.
So the only two that got out were Mr. White and
Monica,
the assassin girl. That sort of fits. It's like we have this crazy tech guy and this crazy brutal guy, and they take the fall for those sneaky.
And I imagine Mr. White and Monica are sitting in his penthouse enjoying the wine with all the data that they collected, while the other two are, I don't know.
I think she still has a contract of killing him, so I don't know if it. Well,
you can kill somebody with boredom, or with enough wine, or with just making them lazy / not careful.
Talking about lazy.
You're lazy.
We are
41.
40 something minutes, so we make a cut now.
Snap. Damn, we know each other far too well. It's so mean when you make the same gestures for jokes that never came up before.
Cool story.
Oh, you have warm hands.
Goodbye.
Gosh.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
First, you gotta say that you don't you want them to have a good week? Enjoy themselves.
Goodbye. I want to have a good Sunday, and that starts now.
Thanks for we have gaming night tonight.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching us crazy dudes, and I hope you had a great week and enjoyed yourselves. And we're gonna be back next week. Will you be back next week?
I don't know. Let's find out next week.
It depends on if you're awake and have a migraine or not.
And next week is the 25th?
Yep.
Oh, so Jim is...
Oh, yes! So we might have... Oh, yeah. The next 2 weeks, it might be kind of difficult for us to vlog because we have a friend coming over from San Francisco. He stays with us for a week. And he's landing on Sunday. And I don't know what our daily routines will be. Because it's usually... Last time it was all Dame's board games.
We have
awesome.
no plans because time showed plans are futile. So
the last time it was 2 weeks. We stayed in... we went out only for food shopping, laundry, and Spiel, which is the trade show in Essen for board games. That's what we did. Otherwise, we just played board games all day long. So, I guess it might be... I'm not getting very tan.
With that, we are leaving you now. Goodbye, and maybe see you next week or
maybe not. I'm gonna let you know on Twitter / Facebook if we will be able to vlog. or at least one of us, or two
Goodbye.
of us, three of us, whatever. Bye. Enjoy yourselves.